Okay, everybody, this is May 1st, 2019. Hopefully you can see me okay. I'm going to just play an excerpt from the city of Scottsdale, and I'll... The last 5 years I did safety inspections, move-ins. Okay, so here we go, and I'm going to stop it and then play it here from the beginning, and then I'll just delete the part from 2 point.
You've reached the City of Scottsdale's Planning and Development Services. To schedule an inspection, please press 1. For directions to the Planning and Development Services offices, please press 2. To request copies of city records, please go to www.scottsdaleaz.gov/build-resources/records. To speak with a receptionist, remain on the line and your call will be answered in the order it was received.
Okay.
May 6, 2016.
May 6, 2016. I just have injuries to my hands, and so sometimes I'll be unable to grab a pencil or it'll drop. So I recorded it in case there was something that I needed to write down, like a phone number or a contact person, because I was very concerned about the smart meters.
How may I help you?
Yes, is there a building code supervisor? I have a question. I'm a former real estate agent, and I'm in Scottsdale, and I had a question for anybody supervising code or code enforcement or building codes. Or
Is this regarding the building code?
Actually, it regards building, electrical, and what was that other one? Fire codes. So maybe, yeah.
Let me see if one of our building reviewers is available.
Yeah, I may as well start there. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, building reviewer, planning and development. And I typed it out and I made a puppet show, but I have no choice. I have to do it this way. So at 2 minutes, I'm going to hide the chit-chat, hi, how are you, and who it is. So it's just a generic message with no names, okay? So, all right, so they should be answering any minute, and then at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, the chit-chat part is over, which I didn't type up because it was just not important. So I have to keep an eye on this. Building code violations, we have vibration code violations from the smart meters, talk about the loosening of pipe fittings from the vibrations. There's no building code for the smart meters, so Underwriters Laboratory really only does appliances, so I found that out later after this call. I kind of sort of knew. I hadn't done real estate since December of 2015 after about 10 years doing safety inspections. So it's set to 2 minutes and 52 seconds, so I have another 30 seconds of chit-chat before we dive into the real purpose for my call here, which was to follow what Curtis Bennett, the professor and electrical expert in Canada, asked me to do. And he told me to call all the health departments about the plastic head. Oh, here we go. Okay, 320, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Okay, here we go. For 10 years. The last 5 years I did safety inspections, move-ins and move-outs of very nice rentals. My fourth and honest broker. I just put my license on inactive just in December to finish my book on World War II because my publisher keeps bugging me. Even though all the money's going to go to a scholarship fund, you know. Anyway, I wanted to ask you, and I spoke to several people about this. I spoke to the Department of Health. I spoke to the Prescott Fire Department, and I've been communicating with a microwave warfare expert in England and an electrician building engineer in British Columbia. So I'm very concerned about the smart meter situation. They're vibrating 900 megahertz on 60 hertz wiring.
it's compromising. I noticed when I moved people in and out, I had to take like 100 photographs. We had like 80 properties, so most of them are Spanish tile with stucco, with smart meters. I was, when I moved people in, I would get there early, take photographs of any cracks and stucco, anything, so the tenant, when they move out, they wouldn't get blamed for this. They wouldn't get charged for it. So I was working for the owner of the property through my broker as well as the good of the tenant. I had to make sure all the windows opened all the way in case, of evacuation, even if it was a brand new window. You find sometimes things break down even if they're brand new. So I noticed that the chipping and the stucco was getting worse. And it wasn't just settlement cracks, and it wasn't just a little chipping, from the weather. It was actual chunks coming off. You could see the wire mesh underneath.
Around the meter.
So I found out from Curtis Bennett in one of his blasts, he's a thermography infrared person. He has technology that sees through smoke. That was deleted. That's why the 19 Prescott firefighters couldn't find their way out, because they were denied information that had been there for 10 years. So
10 years.
There's video on that too.
Video from 2003.
Anyway,
So scary.
he says that as a building engineer, thermoguy.com, if you want to check it out, causes accelerated corrosion of pipes because of the vibration. Now, if each smart meter, you know what a smart meter is? Okay. A lot of people don't. Okay, I got that off my house. They lied to me, and I was sick for 4.5 years. So I spent the last 2 years paying an extortion fee, and I got the analog. They come every 2 months to read it. I have spent hundreds on shielding products because 900 megahertz per second is per meter. That's 900 million cycles per second on wiring. That's 60 hertz. The wiring is 60 cycles per second. Nature's about 8. So this is causing accelerated corrosions. If anyone has old artwork or expensive art collection, they better shield their house with like a lead casing, because the canvas and the paint are being vibrated off into dust. And drywall's going to be dust. There's going to be foundation cracks, sinkholes. It's a constant. Now, the utility company tells you they just tase you twice a day. They don't say tase, but that's what it is.
It's like an X-ray,
it runs on wireless frequencies. And I've been studying this, and the Wi-Fi in the schools is 2.4 gigahertz. That's 1 billion cycles per second on these poor children who are getting bloody noses and bleeding out of their ears from this. Now, I got to have legal documents showing that these meters...
What do you want from me?
Okay, well, you tell me, because I wanted to know how you can help me, because there are no fire codes, there are no safety codes, there are no electrical codes, and there are no building codes for this constant seismic activity that was slapped on us without really testing it. The test was done on what's called an SAR head, specific absorption rate. Yeah, let me just finish my sentence. Yes, it has to do with building codes. This is what it has to do. That's why I'm calling your department. And I just want to explain that the testing for all wireless devices, whether it's shaking a building or a person or a tree, is taken from what's called the SAR. I am entering my cartoon in the Pulitzer. It got published in the Oklahoma Banner News this week with a big article on EMFs from Joe Esposito of Oklahoma. I made him into a superhero. So I have about 6 or 7 cartoons published that I'll be entering in the Pulitzer. And one is an actual medical illustration of a plastic head that they used for the test in '96 with a cell phone with no antenna, a position next to it with fluid and a thermometer in the plastic head. And I was told by Curtis Bennett, the journeyman, and a professor of electric energy healing, that no health department in the U.S. was ever informed that the SAR, specific absorption rate test, was done on a plastic head with water in a sterile environment with no antennas, and that's used as a basis for all wireless devices, whether it's Wi-Fi, gigahertz, megahertz, smart meters on your water.
Now, there are two organizations that would be looking at something like this.
Okay.
Code. One would be the NFPA, the National Fire Protection Agency.
Okay.
And 70E is their National Electric Code.
Okay.
All right?
Uh-huh.
They would look, that's one organization that would look at it.
Okay.
The other one is Underwriter Laboratories.
Oh, they approve them. They've been bought out. You see that?
And that is
Yeah.
what, by code, which was adopted by the city of Scottsdale and pretty much every other jurisdiction in the United States.
Well, my grandparents were
under
killed
the
in
National Electric
Auschwitz.
Code, and they accept equipment that is, in fact, they almost require it. They require all equipment.
I hate to tell you this, Jim, but they.
and labeled by a.
I know, but
I've
they.
seen the UL.
I
on
know,
some
but they've
smart
been
meters.
compromised by the same people.
I have no choice but to follow what the law states.
I know, but the law, there is no law for this kind of vibration. There's no fire codes. There's been 250 fires in
I
Arizona
can't
so
make
far.
any decisions or anything else on anything but what is stated in the codes.
Okay, but there is no code for constant vibration. There is a building code for
If there is
intermittent.
no code, then I can't address it.
I know, because this is what they're circumventing. They're in collusion. There is only a code for intermittent vibration like a dance studio. There are no codes for constant vibration. And I had a meter reader come, 2 meter readers. One electrician came twice, once with a magnetic meter reader, once with a radio frequency meter. And then last month, a remedial specialist came. He's not an electrician. And he came with his meter, and he told me a General Dynamics cell tower was a very high frequency, and we have documents in proving that General Dynamics has been, without consent, experimenting on humans and whole animals since January of 2013 on a 27-month contract.
It's in the
2027.
spectrum for frequencies and so forth. That is all governed by the federal government, and that is outside of our jurisdiction.
I understand, but you should know to protect yourself until we reverse
And
this.
at this point, there's nothing I can do.
Well, let me tell you, there's a lot you can do. Because I pay my taxes, pay your salary, and I want them to pay your salary. I want you to be healthy. I don't want my taxes to go up because you or your family are getting sick from living in a man-made microwave oven. And that cartoon also is going to be. I have a microwave oven with an elementary school inside of it, with a playground. They cannot do this to the children. So you have to protect your children and your friends and your coworkers, because I want you to be at that job for a really long time in good health. I don't want your brain scrambled. I don't want your fertility compromised. This is truth. You cannot put people in harm's way. It's illegal. So you get that meter off your house is a good start. Dr. Klinghardt in Seattle with a K, he won't treat anyone who sleeps on anything metal. He says deradiate the bedroom first. Unplug everything, even put a kill switch in there. No metal box springs, no metal frame, no metal intercoil mattress. Joe Esposito lives in a Faraday cage when he sleeps. He was he was a radar specialist with the Marines in all of the 70s pretty much. So he has electrohypersensitivity now because of his exposure to radar. He writes for 3 years, he's written articles about it in the Banner newspaper in Oklahoma, a private newspaper. And I'm going to split the prize with them when I get it.
Okay.
So if you have any questions, I really want you to call me, or I've been emailing the health department. They didn't know anything about this. And the Prescott firemen called Curtis Bennett in BC right away. And you need to protect yourself because we have crops and we can't be spraying aluminum in unmarked Air Force jets on our crops. We won't have any food, and that's what the people who killed my grandparents in Auschwitz want. There's the Agenda 21 through the United Nations. It's a depopulation agenda. and they put a ray on me picking mulberries in my backyard. It knocked me down about a week and a half ago.
They found
I was dizzy and nauseous.
a
I had
dead
to
jogger
crawl
the next
on my
day.
belly into the garage. I couldn't even stand up. I don't know if it was a satellite or one of the new fixtures on all the light poles, the IntelliLights,
drone.
and it's not safe.
I think as a locality, as a local government, we can't do anything about. That would be federal.
I hate to tell you this, but the state has a lot more jurisdiction over the federal. I've been studying that. State law, the governor has the power to stop the chemical spraying of the battery acid and the coal fly ash. The governors have the anti-pollution laws for each state. They could stop that. I left a couple of messages. I left a message with the Attorney General because they
I
were...
would follow up with them.
Well, let me ask you
Because there's
something.
nothing I can
They
do.
never
I don't
called me
want you
back.
to do anything. I
Well, I
just...
know, but ma'am, I have to get back to reviewing plans. That's what I do. I
Right.
review plans.
Okay, but any plan you have is uninsurable, unmortgageable, and uninhabitable with a constant vibration, shaking the foundation, shaking the pipe fittings. There's going to be gas leaks and explosions with all the shaking and the fake earthquakes. We had 6 or 7 earthquakes recently up in North Arizona.
Mysterious.
That's all underground blasting. That's all geo-engineered.
And dust
And
storms.
I have documentation and evidence to prove every
Mysterious
word I
dust
say.
storms. Poles
All
knocked
right,
down.
so if you have any questions, I want you to call me. I have a lot of documents I could email you. I'm at your service.
All right.
Do you have a number? Do you have a number you could reach me
Yes,
at?
I do. It's showing up on my
Anytime you need to call me, day or night, or if you feel someone's sick or they're going to run and do surgery and put metal in their knees and become an antenna, just have them call me.
All right.
All right, are we being recorded?
No, we are not.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Okay, well, anyway, the underwriters laboratories, I read about them and they just they get paid to assess an appliance. So because the smart electric meters use power to run on, it's no longer a meter measuring your usage, it's an appliance because it runs on power. So there's no easement for or building code for an appliance on your breaker box. Not only that, but the smart meters are 4 separate devices of harm inside the meter. It's a fire hazard, number 1, and the prongs are thinner so it allows arcing inside. And I kind of estimate about 2 smart meter fires a day in Arizona for the last 3 years that I've been, and then 1 a day before that. Then it is radiation, it is dirty electricity, it's wireless, and it is surveillance. So they were banned recently in New Mexico, in the major cities in New Mexico. So Arthur Furstenberg wrote an excellent book recently. He's in Santa Fe, and it's called The Invisible Rainbow, A History of Electricity and Life. And with every epidemic since electricity was invented or used in like 1829 area, every epidemic that occurred was usually an up in the electromagnetic frequencies. It started with, I guess, a telegraph, then radio, then telephone, television, then microwaves, and then it goes into our rainbow spectrum, and then it goes into X-rays and gamma rays, which are too high of a frequency, and that's where the LED lights hit, where we can't see anymore, and that blue prism edge of the ultraviolet. I have that, should be going this way, and I do have that in a packet. I do have this recording transcribed. I was so nervous. So I let Curtis Bennett hear it. I let a couple of people hear it. And he said that you can't go to the workers, you have to go to the supervisor. So I called the supervisor, a different guy at the City of Scottsdale Planning and Development. He met with me downstairs in the lobby, and I gave him the smart meter brochures to show the scientific evidence that daisy chains through a lot of houses and wirelessly, and it could be hacked. it actually, and then he just said, yes, ma'am, and that was it. So nothing happened. So they think I don't know science. So I try to be more scientific since then. And I'll just put a lot of more stuff for you on another video. I was haunted today by about 7 sightings of the self-driving drivered vehicles. So I have photographs from today, I have videos up, and reports LiDAR with aerosols report from 2018, like I mentioned on another video, in 1979, 1987. So I'm expecting a lot of mysterious dust storms, because if you have the LiDAR and the aerosols, that report from 79 says during dust storms, and in August of 2018 we had 6 mysterious dust storms all in that month, and poles fell down and someone was hurt, and these old telephone poles are just ready to crack. So I really need the governor's office to halt the illegal pollution. It is not solar radiation management, it is not SRM preventing global warming, it's causing it. And you have to stop the lies, and the coal fly ash, the residue, is just interreacting, and someone's doing sky art. Some art teacher somewhere was doing sky art. I saw a crazy rainbow made of lined up little puffs of clouds, and they moved with huge lasers, and I don't know what school or institution has those lasers, but they definitely not far away, because I take a lot of photographs and videos as I can. It's so frequent here. They're just using our beautiful blue sky and our beautiful desert weather in Arizona just to test all these horrible things out on us and hurt everybody. So it's very well documented, and I'm really I really felt like I pulled the rug out. I had the rug pulled out from under me when I saw that smart meter on my house in June of 2014. After in January of 2010, I told them that not to put it on because I heard something bad about it. So I am recovering from what that meter, I blame it on that, because now that I don't have it, I have been able to read again and think again and remember again, and my skin is, replenishing itself, and a lot of remediation and deradiation, and knowing when to wear what kind of shielding product. Like you don't see it, but I have a silver mesh shield up there too, and it really does help at 180-degree angle from the people across the street smart meters. So yeah, the smart meters violate pool safety codes as well, because scientist Barry Trower, Barrietrower, Barry Trower in the UK, has a lot of videos and YouTubes, and I studied him, and I've spoken to him in England, and I've written letters to him and gotten ones from him, and he basically has a lot of videos that you need to watch. So The Cooking of Humanity is one of his best ones, an interview, and that got me started in 2014 when I found out that when I got the old meter back. The metering system is outdated. Even the analog mechanical meters can get moisture and debris underneath. So I think that's enough of that, and I'll be touching base with you soon. Thank you for joining me. Flory Freshman, May 1st, 2019, 3 years after this phone call was made, and more powerful smart meters, focus meters that have a two-way radio and up to 10 stations, and now they're changing them for nicer meters that don't give your appliance usage to third parties, but it's still daisy chains, it's still wireless, it's still built to be hacked. So Ilana Freeland, Freeland, the author, wrote a couple of books I mentioned earlier, and her interviews, I'm jumping around. I just have so much to share with you. I'm just so grateful that I can make these videos available to the unsuspecting, innocent, generous, kind, animal-loving, nature-loving people, and we're too nice and we're too trusting. So let's call it a 5G hoax. I don't know if all of you know this, but a couple of months ago in the Netherlands, at The Hague, in Holland, the area over there in Europe, they tested 5G out for, I think, one day, and 280 birds had heart attacks and died. So it's really going to hurt the birds first. So it won't be a very good thing not to hear birds singing. That's going to be a real something that I'll really miss. So speak to you later. Ciao for now. Thank you.